So, Trapper Loc, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yes.
It was a little bit hectic
Yes.
initially to make this
getting
happen.
here, yeah.
But I'm so glad it worked out.
Yes.
It was meant to.
You can't stop what's in motion. And Crispy Akiyama, he gave me this gem that I always remember, and he said it's bullshit before the blessing. Life is gonna throw you some bullshit before you're about to be blessed. And
Oh, 100%.
here we are. So it's all about how you could take. And so I think today too. Remember, I don't know if I told you beforehand, but for sure after the fact. But I was like, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, wait, when we were talking about how you were laughing at yourself.
Yeah.
And you were.
Well, I felt like I was being tested though. I felt
Yeah.
like life was really testing me. Threw some shit at me, and it's like, all right, what can I do? Like, don't let this ruin my day. And how can I make the best of what today is?
And you know what? I feel like since the last time we talked, you've been like kind of in that period in your life of a lot of things getting thrown at you that you're having to really sit with some introspection and decide how you're going to react or even change your thought process to scenarios. And it's funny that would happen right at our collaboration, right? Because I consider you a deep person, you know?
Thank you.
And I
You
think
as well.
we're both alike in that sense.
Yes.
So it's always funny when the devil be trying to stop plans.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yes.
Well,
indeed.
a lot of people may recognize you from rapping, but you also have Talk with Trap, right? Did I say it right?
Yeah, Talks with Trap.
Talks with Trap. There you go. What inspired you to do that, by the way, before we get into all the nitty gritty?
Honestly, so I think how it all started, I remember like my first, I guess what I would consider a Talks with Trap, it wasn't even Talks with Trap. I think my first little interview was, I think, possibly with Luigi out of Legacy Studio or with Annalise. But so I was there recording, I was there at Legacy Studio with Luigi, and Annalise happened to be there. I was recording for my project with AWACS, Peas in the Trap. But I was like, fuck, these are genuine questions. I'm interested. I have these questions I want to ask him. I want to ask her. Like, it's not just like, hey, let me get an interview and I have these 5 questions that I ask everybody. It's like, nah, it was genuine curiosity. Like, hey, how did this happen for you? How long have you been doing this? So those were my first kind of couple of things. But then I realized, I'm like, fuck, I'm kind of around some interesting people and I have genuine questions.
Yeah.
Let's fucking record it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
like,
and those be gems too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's so funny that you would say that because, kid you not, the other day I was thinking about curiosity. And I was like actually really sitting with this. I have a feeling you may be like this too, where like a thought comes into our brain and we just like be thinking about it and dissecting it and all kinds of stuff. So I was thinking about curiosity and what a wonderful trait it is to be a curious person because you don't stop learning.
Yeah.
And everybody you come across is somebody that can teach you something good, bad, and different. If you're always curious to life, there's always something to learn out of it.
Yes.
And what a gain that is. You know what I mean? And I started thinking about like complacency and stagnancy and how easy it is to just fall into the routine of life, of perspective, of mentalities. And what a disservice that is to the mind and our capabilities.
Yes.
You know? So I think it's great that you're that kind of person and that you act on it. 'Cause, you know, sometimes people be curious but shy.
Yeah. And I don't think maybe I've read this somewhere or watched a video or something, and I don't think I'm at this point, but I'm like, I hope I never get to a point where I think I know it all in a certain area, and it's like, oh, I've been doing this for 20 years, like I know it all, but it's like, I hope I never get there, but fucking 20 years from now, I hope I'm still like, nah, I can learn from this young man, and just, times change, people change. If you have the mindset of a student, you're going to be able to learn.
Yeah, and that's actually also a sign of intelligence. People, there was a study done that showed that people that actually had higher intelligence levels don't actually think they're as smart as they are because they're constantly curious and constantly asking questions and constantly learning, and they always feel like someone out there has more knowledge.
Yeah.
And then the people that think they know it all and are like all right about situations actually tend to be less intelligent because they're so quick to shut off those avenues of learning, which I found interesting. because I feel like I'm kind
It's
of
funny,
like that.
even you just saying it out loud, like you just like someone who thinks they know. It's like, yeah, they sound kind of stupid. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah,
No, well, that's wonderful. Well,
yeah,
that's cool, and I hope that you keep it up with that because I think those conversations need to be had. You know what I mean?
yeah. Hey,
Especially as you
and
progress.
thank you for bringing me on here because it's funny. You know how I do like the little, not even they turn into like little motivational clips
Yeah.
on Instagram, but the way that all started is I started you can scroll like all the way to the bottom of my Instagram, and I always wanted to be interviewed, and
Yeah.
I'm like no one ever asked to interview me, so I started this thing, and it was called Interviews with Me
Yeah.
by Me.
Yeah.
And it was
Oh,
just me talking to the camera, and I would
yeah.
be like, "All right, guys, this is my top 5 artists.
Yeah.
Since no one else is fucking asking me, I'll ask myself."
Yeah.
But that's how my little motivational clip started. Is like, cause I always wanted to be on an interview, and I was like, man, so
Yeah.
thank you for
Oh, you're welcome.
you know what I'm saying? It feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that intelligence intrigues me.
Mhm.
When I see someone that's a deep thinker, I tend to I like to pick brains.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can't help it. Sorry guys if you don't know by now, but I am it's just I enjoy these kinds of conversations. I
Yeah.
enjoy different perspectives of life. That's why I teeter-totter with my belief in zodiacs, right? But then when you and I were talking, I was like, what is this guy? He sounds like a fucking Cancer.
Oh
That he
man,
is.
guilty. Yeah,
Guilty, dude.
guilty. Yeah.
And you know what? As much as like I'm like, I don't know about zodiacs. Then there's moments like that where I'm like, why is it every deep person that I speak to, I get this hunch that they're a Cancer, and they are, you
Wow.
know. And then I learn about our zodiac sign, and we're the mother of zodiacs. Like we
Okay.
harbor this intelligence because we mother those around us. Well, obviously you're male, right? But
Yeah.
we tend to bring that wisdom to whoever we're around.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, as soon as I heard your clips, your motivational clips, I was like, yeah, I gotta get this guy on at some point. And I think Mad Dog was like, when are you gonna get Trapper Loc? Like y'all were
Yeah.
having a good ass conversation, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, it has to
I
happen.
remember that. I remember seeing that comment too, and I was like, "Oh, we already like me and you
Yeah.
already spoke."
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you had it. You already had it planned out in your
Yes.
head. Like, I'm gonna get him. I got him on my
Yes.
radar. So
100%.
yeah, once again, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
and
you're
It's
welcome.
cool. It's cool.
Yep. So let's take it back. There's a lot of avenues I want to dive into, but first, so people can get to know you outside of the music. What was your childhood like?
Oh gosh, I'm like, I'm trying to think. Like, you want to hear about it, like from the jump,
Yeah.
from the jump, or like kind of growing up, or
No, from the jump.
Just-
From
I mean-
your earliest recollection, if you had to just describe what your childhood was like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, I mean, if I was telling anyone my story, you know, like not even thinking about the camera, like if you're like, hey, how from the baby, and so it's like I know my parents split up when I was like around like 1 or 2. Obviously, I don't remember that, but that's how the story went. And then so I do have this memory of bouncing around a lot of places with my mom. You know what I mean? And then my mom would tell me like, "Hey, yeah, your dad was, you know, they were going through the divorce, and she was like, I just want the kids. You can have everything else." He's like, "Cool, sign, boom." So we left with my mom, and I just remember bouncing around at a lot of families' houses, and probably some people who probably weren't even family.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of I do have recollections of that. You know, being a kid and just we're staying here tonight.
Did that impact you in any way?
I don't think so. Not in any negative or I not. If it's not negative, then I guess it's positive. So
Yeah.
maybe it did have a positive effect. But I mean, I don't. I mean, in my head, I mean, I don't think it had a negative impact or just like, oh, I'm this way because of bouncing
Yeah.
around as a kid. Like, nah, I love my mom. I think that's the effect that it had. Like, I got
Yeah.
a real deep love for my mom. And then.
Did you end up having like a relationship with your dad throughout this time though?
Yeah, well, so now that I think about it, when I'm older, I'm like, I don't think my dad was around for that period of time.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years that was,
Yeah.
but I remember when we both finally moved to Hanford because my mom, we were bouncing around kind of the county. I don't even know what towns we were in, but then I remember finally landing in Hanford, and then my dad lived in Hanford,
Yeah.
and then I don't know when the custody battle came about, but we would switch every week. Every Sunday, boom, I'd stay with my dad for a week. Sunday come around, go with my mom for the week.
Yeah.
And that was always the thing. Yeah, that's how I recall my childhood. And then, I don't know, growing up was, now that I think about it, I felt like I always tried, I don't know, I think I was always me. And I tried a lot of things. Like, I remember I used to skate. wasn't too good at it, so I stopped. But so it's like, but it was fun. So I
Yeah.
having fun as a kid. I remember, I think sometime in like junior high, and I just kind of, I guess, pick up off the influences of whatever was around me, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I think my cousins would listen to rock music, so I had like a little rocker phase,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
I
that kind
remember,
of
I remember
didn't,
that phase.
it didn't, yeah. And I still listen. I love alternative rock. Like
Oh, same.
I love it. I love it.
Same.
That's and then my mom listens to like Spanish rock, so it's like I feel like
Shut
yes,
up.
I feel like that's kind of where it came from. But so I had all these little phases, and I remember going through like was it like junior high? That's when like jerking was popular. I used to fucking do that.
Were you wearing the skinny jeans jerky?
I did. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping it real.
Hey, that was an era.
I'm not gonna front.
The
you know?
colors was crazy.
Yes.
The skinny jeans crazier.
It's funny when I look back at it and then end up falling into the influence of I think my brother and then just being around the homies and then so it's
Okay.
like all right, so I picked up on that.
Older homie? I mean, older brother?
Yeah, older brother.
Are you the youngest?
I have a little sister.
Okay.
little
So you're the
sister.
middle?
Yeah, I'm the middle. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're all
I've heard about
noted.
y'all.
But yeah, no, yeah, and then so then being around the homies and shit, and it's funny too because I remember when I first started kicking it with the homies. Well, I'd be around my brother and I'd be around the homies, but I'd still like I wasn't dressing like a homie, so they would always get on me.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you, woo, woo. I'm like, what, motherfucker? It's like I don't know, you know. But then so it's like I guess how would you say? It's just very human way of let me fit in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now I'm the outcast right now, like, but I'm hanging out, and so that kind of put me into there. But one thing I like about that now is like I'm not like I'm of course still a homie, so it's like, but I don't have to portray myself as that. Like I know who I am as a person.
Yeah.
I know all these walks of life that I do what I like, and it's not like all right, yeah, I'm a homie, but that doesn't mean I have to wear certain clothes and act a certain way. It's like nah, I'm gonna be me.
Yeah. Because it's not your whole identity.
It's not.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
I think that's wonderful actually to highlight because I think it was Truly Goonie. Me and him were talking about how like he'll listen to all kinds of music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like he's complimenting me on some of my like really like electric music or like crazy stuff that like we're always listening and exploring new music. And I thought, how cool is it to have people that are unapologetically themselves, even though they're in this space, right? Because I feel like whether you're a homie or someone like me who grew up a little bit more hood, there's this assumption that that's like all we are, or all we listen to, and I'm like, nah, I will rock out.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
and I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to maintain an image constantly all the time because there's so many layers to ourselves, you know? And I think it's liberating to be that way because I think everybody has layers that they don't show, you know? And I think all of us externally, you know, we tend to show the harder side, you know, especially for those of us that don't trust as much. But it's cool to see that, like, you're somebody who, even though you're in this space, it ain't everything that you are.
Yeah.
And you embrace your other layers openly, like
100%.
your motivational videos.
Yes. And so, since we're bringing that up, I'm trying to think how it started, but one thing, the best ones that come out, well, in my opinion, the ones that really hit and the ones that I really feel, it's like I'm never trying to just like force something. You know, it's like, nah, this is really how I'm trying to cope with life. And I feel like, I mean, at this point, I know it helps others and that makes me feel good. And I remember I used to wake up and be like, how can I help someone today? How can I help someone? What knowledge have I not given out? And that lasted for a cool minute. But then after a certain point, I was like, I kind of said all I have to say.
Yeah.
You know, I think now's the time for me to be quiet.
Yeah.
You know,
did you always have this kind of like calling since you were a kid to like more?
Wait, in regards to this or
No, in regards to like you know, how can you help somebody?
Honestly, flashing back, like it's funny, I just thought about this kid that I was like in junior high with or something. But it's like when someone would like try and pick on someone, I'd be like he's cool. Like why you trying to make fun of him? And like I would try and let him know like, hey, you're cool. Like I don't know, just being helpful. Like bro, I think it sucks to feel shitty.
Yeah.
So it's like if someone's feeling shitty, like hey man, like you're cool with me. And I know people like me, so if I fuck with you, it might
Yeah.
make them stop a little bit. So
Where did that come from? That deep sense of
I have no idea because it's never really been brought to the forefront of my attention
I'm
till now.
curious. I'm
Yeah.
curious. I want you to sit on that and then let me know later. Like with me,
Hmm.
full transparency, I'm the same way.
Hmm.
I'm very much I'll bully the bully. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff would bother me when I would see people like pick on Down syndrome kids,
Uh huh.
or like maybe the kid that was autistic or whatever. Like I had this deep sense of moral obligation to stand up and be the voice for the voiceless.
Yeah.
You know, but I really like in my healing journey, I sat with that and I realized a lot of that comes from the fact that my voice, I feel like, was never ever heard growing up, and so
Hmm.
then I brought that back to the world.
Hmm.
Like I'm gonna help those who were once like me.
Yeah. That's I'm gonna have to ponder on that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I wonder where it came from.
Yeah.
For sure. I think I feel like I could look back on life and I'll probably be like, maybe
Yeah,
that's why
narrow
I'm
it
like
down.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's a good trait to have. You
It's a
know.
great trait to have because we need that. I always have a saying, and I actually seen it from American Sniper, but it's so true. There's wolves, there's sheep, and then there's sheepdog.
Yes, yes.
We're the
I've heard
sheepdog.
that, and I've seen you say it too, and I'm like, yep, yep. And
100%.
and it's funny we're talking about this, and that popped into my head.
Yeah, you got to balance, you know, the good and evil in life, and there's got to be people that have the heart to do it.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. How were you in your adolescence?
Give me a age frame from what's
Like
adolescence.
hitting 13, teenagers.
What grades are that? So that's like
That's probably like
eighth
yeah,
through.
yeah, eighth through like senior year.
Uh huh.
Were you generally a good kid, or did you get into BS?
I remember like I started fucking up like in elementary school, like sixth grade.
Oh,
I remember
really?
sixth grade, and I don't know, just acting out. I don't know, but I think acting out too is just a form of attention seeking. Attention seeking.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna fucking act out, and then people look at you, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But that's probably like me in like sixth grade, and then, I mean, seventh and eighth grade. I mean, I was never really a good kid. I had the potential to be good, but then you know, it's,
What's a good kid? What's that mean?
indeed. Define that, huh?
What
I
is
don't know.
what is
Someone
a
who's
good
not
kid?
getting in trouble. Someone who's not getting in trouble. You know, as far as just staying within school rules.
Like obedient?
Yeah, and just not acting out.
I've always had a tendency to defy authority
Uh huh.
if it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I feel like obedience can be a good and a detrimental thing depending on
Mm-hmm.
the authority, right?
True.
So,
True.
in some instances, I think us kids act out because we're being kids in development, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think sometimes I also act out when I'm like, your rules are stupid,
Yeah.
not following them.
Yeah. But I think so my adolescent years. Yeah. I don't know. I think I started acting out like early on, and then you know I kind of started kicking it with the homies around junior
That's what I
high
was just gonna ask. Was that around that age that you started kicking
Yeah.
with the homies?
Yeah.
Was your mom or your parents, were they against you following your brother's footsteps, so to speak?
Yeah, I remember my dad was very how would you say, like he would really voice his opinion on that. Like I remember him getting my brother in trouble. Like, look, your fucking brother's getting in trouble because of you. You know what I'm saying? I remember. Hey, it's so funny. I think about it. I remember taking a picture of my brother. This is back, you know, my dad had a digital camera.
Yeah.
You know, and my brother fucking all red bandana, and I'm taking pictures of him. My dad found it,
Yeah.
and just I don't know why I just thought about that right now. That's very funny though. But
And he got in trouble or you got in trouble?
yeah, he got in trouble. He got in trouble, but then that's around the time. And then I remember even like you know, then I started changing the way I dressed. You know, started getting the flannels,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then my dad would be like, "Why are you fucking wearing this?" and try and buy me like just you know clothes that I used to wear,
Yeah.
just something that.
So your parents didn't bang. They weren't in that kind of.
No, my dad was a correctional officer.
Oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
so he was very like I remember growing up like my dad like we had to tell my dad yes sir, no sir, like we grew up in that kind of household. But then it was always, you know, this was very strict over here. We'll go to my mom's house. My mom was very loving and we'd get away with a lot more.
Yeah.
My mom wouldn't, oh, you can't do that. She would just my mom loved us and kind of let us do a little. She was very lenient with
Yeah.
us, you know, but then my dad was super strict. And then so, but then you want to defy that, you know, that how would you say? Gosh,
That structure?
yes, you know, it's like he was very strict on us, and so it make you want to rebel. Like I don't want to listen to you. I remember I stopped living with my dad like after I was like 16 or 17. And at this point, like in high school, I remember I graduated like early, and I just and then my dad wouldn't even like force me to go over no more. I just stay with my mom.
And that's because of the amount of structure that was at his house?
Yeah, and I was just like wasn't really listening, and it just things went smoother at my mom's, and so we just kind of left it at that. But then my mom would be like kicking me out and shit.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, all right, cool, and I'll go stay at the homies for a couple of days, and then she'd be like, Mijo, come home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Do you think living such different parenting styles, in retrospect, looking back at how your dad was and looking back at how your mom was, I think both of them were probably doing what they thought was best for the kids in different ways.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on both of their parenting approaches? Do you
It's funny too because I'm trying to imagine me as a parent, like what kind of parent am I gonna be? And I feel like I'm gonna be more like my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like he raised me. It's funny too because like shit he said to me when I was younger, like it still pops in my head every now and then. Like I remember even like cleaning, like I'd have to clean the floor or something or do something particular, and I would be trying my best, and my dad would be like I would take him forever. Stop making a project out of things. He would always say, "Stop making a project out of," and he'll get out. I remember he'll push me out the way, and he goes, "Never." Never. How do you say it? Like no one's gonna work for you the way you're gonna work for yourself. Don't hire someone to do what you want done for you.
Yeah.
I'm a little kid, and he's like, "Get out of my way."
Yeah.
But you're not doing it right. Let
Yeah.
me show you how. I know what I want done. Let me do it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I feel like my dad was the same way.
Yeah.
He'd be like, if you're gonna do something, you better do it 100% because that's a representation of your character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, there's a lot of key things that I'm like, my dad instilled in me, probably not in the best way, but as I grew, I got the gist of what he was trying to do. And my mom was very loving too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very kind of similar to yours in that sense.
It's funny now too. Like I feel like I'm closer with my dad now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I talk to my mom like every day, but it's like when my brother and my mom talk on the phone, like they're on the phone for a cool minute, and mine and my mom's conversations are kind of short.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, it's
Yeah.
just natural. But then like I don't know, I just have this pulling to my dad, and he just I mean obviously I'm grown now, and so he just like accepts me for who I am, but he sees me trying to do right for myself.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I'm really gravitated towards my dad.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
awesome.
I don't know what
Well,
it
you
is.
know, they say a father's very impactful in their son's life. You know what I mean? Well, in their children's life, but for a young boy to become a man, you know, you're going to remember your father. You know, I tell
Yeah.
my husband all the time, I can't teach our son to be a man.
Yeah.
I could teach my girls to be strong all day because I'm them. I'm a reflection of them, right? I can't teach my boys that. I can love my boys. I can nurture the boys. I can, you know, do all what I know to do as a woman. But all that
Yes.
other stuff, that's going to come from you.
Yeah.
And as a woman, and I think a lot of women get this wrong in parenting, stepping back and getting your emotions out of things to let your husband teach your boys how to become men.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A lot of mamas want to shelter their baby boys, and then it's like you're just making it harder for them in the long run when it comes to real life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't have any kids, but I'm excited to have some.
How many you want?
I don't know. I would need
Pack
at
it
least
out. We need it.
3 to 5.
There you go.
3 to
Perfect.
5.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's a great number.
Right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? 5 being like, all right, that's
That's a little Brady Bunch.
That's a good amount. Yeah. But for sure, at least 3 in my
That's-
head. I think that's cool right there.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing all the work now to like gain a lot of knowledge for when you become a parent, and I think everything's gonna come like full circle
Yeah.
in so many avenues. I think you're gonna perfect your mom and your dad's parenting.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
hope so.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
So how did you get into music?
Music, man, my brother, I ain't gonna lie. I remember how it first started, and this was, with the homies and whatnot. And I remember, my brother would be with the homie Naze, and they'd always, they'd come over. So this would be at my mom's house. Like I said, my mom very, very more lenient. She'd be inside sleeping. We'd be in the garage. Wasn't connected to the house.
Yeah.
So we'd be in the garage drinking King Cobras, and I remember I don't know why I remember this. Always drinking King Cobras and getting chicken sandwiches from like Carl's Jr.
Yeah.
And we'd always do that with some hot sauce. Like that was the thing. But then my brother would rap, and then the homie Naze would rap, and so they'd get to drinking, and they'll put a beat on, and they'll
Yeah.
start freestyling. And then so I'm there and I'm like, all right, let me jump in. And I jump in. I did it a couple of times and I'd just be freestyling. But then a freestyle, like I would come with a bar to. And I'm like, yo, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I should try writing. And then, yeah, my cousin Darren, he goes by Santos, but he's the one who got me on my very first song. He was like making music on SoundCloud. And he's like,
oh, I remember that era.
He's like, come through, let me put you on a track. And I was like, man, I'm gonna get 1,000 plays. We're gonna get 1,000 plays, cuz you know what I'm saying?
Gas me
yeah. So I was like, I think I was 18 already because I went to jail and then.
Oh, we're gonna have to double back on that.
Yeah.
How's your adolescence? And you said,
yeah, my bad. I was thinking more before. I was thinking more high school and shit.
We'll go back. All right, we'll go finish those with some
I went to jail and then and the song did pretty good and it sounded good. It sounded good, honestly.
Do you still got the song?
Yeah, it's on SoundCloud. It's still on SoundCloud. Yeah, like if you know me, that's why I'm like, if you know
was
me,
your name still the same back then?
Yeah, I got my name. My boy Naze gave me that name, and it's funny because I was with the homies and hanging around and whatnot, and I remember him. I remember where I was when I got my name. But I remember being in my mom's. There's an alley behind the house. Mm-hmm. We're in the alley. That's where we'd always be. The garage in the alley. Yeah. That was the spot. And he goes, man, you need a nickname. And because people would just call me Richie.
Yeah.
And he goes, you need a nickname. And then he thought about it. He goes, and I was trapping at the time. I was trapping through. I started trapping like sophomore year or something.
Yeah.
Never forget it. I remember the homie giving me a pill bottle with 7 dime bags. He said, here. There's 7 dime bags. He said, $10 each. You bring me back 50. The 20's yours. And that was real. That's how it all started. But yeah. So I was trapping at the time, and I was like 18 already, I think. And the homie's like, it was right before I was 18. The homie's like, you need a nickname. And so he thought about it. He goes, I'm gonna call you Lil Rich. I'm gonna call you Trapper Loc. What do you think? And I was just like, I think I like Trapper Loc.
Where'd the Loc come from?
Oh, that's our hood. That's our hood. We're Southside Locs. So,
okay.
Yeah, we're all Locs.
It makes sense. It makes sense. All right.
So, yeah. So, he's like, Lil Rich or Trapper Loc. I was like, I think I like Trapper Loc.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard.
And it was the funniest thing, too, because I just turned 18, and we had a party. We're at this little trap, and fucking, we had homies from everywhere. And the homie thought it was one of my boys told me, he goes, bro, that shit was stupid corny, because the homie made like an announcement. He goes, hey, everybody, let me get everybody's attention. The homie's new name is Trapper Loc. And we're all fucked up and shit. I'm 18 and I'm like, yeah.
And I always wondered, because I don't know these politics, but I was like, I wonder how they go about giving each other nicknames. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, that's my story. That's my story.
Now I'm gonna have to ask everybody. Okay, so I know I asked Mad Dog, and his totally fit. I was like, okay, that makes all the sense. But yours fits too, but it's cool. And then you made it a brand.
Yes, I know. What an amazing thing, huh?
Yeah.
There you go, the merch. Fucking name on
merch too. It's right here. Hold on. Let me peep it. Let me show it.
Yeah.
I got a shirt too. He has a shirt, but look at the shorts. We'll link that so that they can go get their merch. Thank you for bringing my husband.
Yes, too. Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so let's double back to what the gem that you just skipped over that you went to jail.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about it, it's no obligation on the podcast.
Yeah, it's cool. I was 18 and I don't think I never got locked up like as a juvenile. Never got locked up as a juvenile. I know a lot of people start young. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They have that track record, but yeah, I didn't get like caught up for anything until I was 18. My first time going to jail, I ain't gonna lie, was on my 18th birthday. I just hit the drunk tank though. But so that party that I had, cops ended up coming and me thinking I'm smart. I remember I was in the shed. There's a shed out there. Me trapping, I was counting my money. I wonder how. It's funny too, because in my head I had a lot of money.
Yeah.
But now that I'm thinking, now that I'm grown, I'm like, I wonder how much I had. Probably like $1,000.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
Well, you're young, when you're young, it seems like a lot.
I remember I had it all in a backpack though, so I had a backpack full of money.
Yeah.
But I remember I was in the shed counting money. They're like, hey, cops are here. And then and so they're coming to the back and they're like trying to come in the shed, and I open it up and they're like, oh, let me in. I was like, you guys don't have consent to search. And I'm holding both the doors. They're like, we got consent from woo. I said, she's not the owner. She can't give you consent. I'm thinking I'm all smart. I'm all drunk too.
Yeah.
I know this motherfucker punched me in the stomach. Boom. But I fucking threw all my shit in the backpack and gave it to someone. But And then it's funny too. I was 18. That's at the time you could buy cigarettes.
Yeah.
I just bought a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
Hey,
I remember that fucking era. I thought it was so tight too.
right? You
Me
know
and my
what I'm
cousins thought we were so tight smoking them fucking cigarettes.
saying? Yeah.
Oh God.
Bad habit. Bad habit. But yeah, I remember he pulled out the pack of cigarettes. He's like, "How old are you?" And they were checking my ID, and they're like, "Oh, today's his birthday." He fucking throws all my cigarettes in the street. They took me to the drunk tank. That was my first time going to jail, but that was not what I got like my first time actually doing some time. Free my boy Mikey, man. Mikey. I did it for Mikey. He was on the run for shooting somebody, and he didn't kill him, but he shot some dropout, and then that dude snitched on him, and so I mean obviously he's locked up for it now. I mean he got his time. He's actually doing life right now. But so he was on the run with me. He would stay with me, and I remember my mom would be like, "This ain't a hotel. Like, your friend's always here," and so I had a car at the time. And I'd park in the alley, and I'd bring a blanket out for me and him, and we'd sleep in the car together. So I'm
Wow.
like, "You're my boy." Like I'm not like my mom said you can't stay here. Well, I'm not gonna stay at my mom's then either. Like we'll sleep in my car. Like it's good. But so that was my boy. That was my boy right there. But so he was on the run. So he had this master plan. He goes, "Hey Trap, check this out." He goes, "So if you're getting pulled over and you go on a high speed chase, and someone in the car jumps out, the cops have to follow the car." So he's like, "This is our plan," you know what I mean? This is our,
my God.
Yeah.
And you were the one
Yeah, but I was like
driving the car?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was like, you mean he's looking at time? I was like, I got you. Like I'll do that. You know?
What a master plan for you
Yeah.
young men to come up with.
I know, right? We're geniuses. Nah, but yeah, nah. I mean, and looking back at it, like I would do it again, probably a little smarter. But I remember too, we were with each other every day, and I remember there was this car following us, and you know, like those real box, like refrigerator, like they're Fords, like look like a refrigerator on
Oh,
wheels.
I think I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember we're at the stoplight, and they stopped a very large distance behind us. And I was like, why is this car stopped way back there?
Yeah.
We're at the stoplight, and I was telling Mikey, he's like, I don't know, man, you're tripping. And I was like, nah, bro, I don't know. We go to the next stoplight, same thing, hella stop back. I'm like, bro, why is this car? It's just weird. Like no one, you mean you're
Yeah.
you're in traffic, you're on the car's ass, and then I remember, so we're going to the next one, and I was like, let's see who it is, because they pulled into the next lane,
Yeah.
and we're looking, they're about to pull up next to us, and then whoop, I get blurped. I was like, oh shit. I was like, you ready? You know what I'm saying? So I like pull over low key, and then I take off, and he's like, right here. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take off. So he jumps out the car, and I take off, and I'm like, cool, like the homie's gonna get away.
Yeah.
Nobody followed me. Nobody fucking followed me. They all jumped out and chased after him. And so I was down the street from my mom's, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, the homie, you know?
Yeah.
I tried pulling into my mom's alley, and there's a car blocking my mom's alley. And I'm like, what the bang,
Yeah.
get the fuck out the way. And some dude's looking at me. I'm honking, why you blocking out? Get the fuck out the way. Dude jumps out. Police, get out. And I fucking take off, and yeah, no, I ended up getting caught. I ended up pulling over, because I was like, man, I was coming up to a stop sign, and cross traffic don't stop.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not trying to crash. I
Yeah.
don't want to hurt nobody. So I was like, man, fuck
Well,
it.
that's one for the fucking books.
You know, yeah, but that was me going to jail.
How long were you in jail for?
I was in jail for 6 months for that. I got probation, my first
Oh, okay.
offense.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
but
Well, at least it wasn't too crazy.
yeah, I know that's what made me pull over too. That's why I was like, fuck. Imagine I just smacked somebody's car. And,
Yeah, that went from
yeah.
6 months.
Hey, but
to-
I was in a bucket. I probably wasn't gonna do
Yeah.
too much damage.
Did
And
you learn anything from that?
from that experience, or like from jail, or
Both. Yeah. Well, I guess that's considered that experience.
Yeah, right. Well, don't do that again. Nah,
Well, that's the most important lesson you needed to learn.
Yeah,
So good for you.
for sure. I mean, thinking about it now too, like,
What'd your mom say?
I really can't remember.
Dang, I don't know, like how I would handle my sons doing something like that.
Yeah, my mom would come visit me. My
Yeah.
dad not too often, but he would come.
Yeah, that tough love.
Yeah.
Wow. So what got you into? Okay, so all right.
Well, how did
Hold
I
on.
know? Where did we?
So that was okay. We got a little the crazy side of your life. Now that you're on your motivational stuff, I saw that you went to go see Jordan Peterson, which
Yes.
was amazing. That was another thing that I was like, oh, First of all, I'm a little jealous, and I'm not a jealous person.
Yeah, yeah.
But dude, I kid you not, I seen that, and I freaking, babe, I don't even know where my husband was at the time. I was like, Trapper Loc went to go see Jordan Peterson. He was like,
Yeah.
who? And I told him, I was like, what the heck? I
Yeah.
was like, how tight is that? Like, that's hella cool. That means
Yeah.
that you have a knack for like intellectual conversations, you
Yes.
know? So I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's tight. Where, how, when did this start? What the heck?
Honestly, now I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to think how I first came across Jordan Peterson, and it's not in my mind right now.
Joe Rogan?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Gosh, I've been following Jordan Peterson for at least a couple of years now.
Yeah.
You know, I've been home for going on 5 years, so I probably found Jordan Peterson maybe about 3 years ago or
Yeah.
something. I don't know where, I don't know how. Maybe even if it was just like an Instagram ad or
Probably
something.
because I think he started getting really known in 2020 with just the political climate, excuse me. And that's how I think I first heard of him. Well, actually, I heard of Candace Owens first, and then through Candace Owens, she would like talk about this Jordan Peterson a lot, right? You know how your phone be listening to you. All of a sudden, Jordan Peterson would come up on my threads and stuff.
Who's Candace Owens?
So she is a Black conservative, and she talks about a lot of her values. And I was just going down, you know, I'm a big podcaster, I don't really like to listen to things I'm not learning from, you know, like
right, yeah.
trash TV and
What
stuff.
am I consuming? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was just on YouTube, and it was like the algorithm was just recommending me things, and it was a Candace Owen video, and she's talking about like the confidence of being a woman and what it is to like just really embrace your femininity and stuff. And at that point, I was actually in my healing journey where I was like, wow, I can't believe I've lived in survival mode for so long that I thought this masculine approach to life is where it's at, when now that I'm stepping into my femininity, which is actually what I've always wanted, because back in the day, people would be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'd be like, a wife and a mom. You know, it was never like a career, so to speak. It is a career. It's just a different kind, you know?
Yeah.
So I listened to her video, and I was so moved by, one, her level of intelligence. Her ability to speak blew me away. Two, what she was saying. And she just hit me right where I was at. And I was like, oh, this is wonderful. I was like, man, she is just saying exactly what I'm feeling. This is what I've been searching for in my life. Like, I totally feel what she's saying. I related to her. And so I reposted just that clip of like her speaking of that. Dude, when I freaking tell you, my followers lost their shit. They were like, how dare you post this woman? She just spills like anti-woman rhetoric, and she's this and she's that. And I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm over here thinking she's spreading the most positive shit she could ever freaking hear. Like, how could you disagree with what she's saying?
Yeah.
And all that made me do is I want to like learn who she is more, because now I'm like, oh, y'all don't like her, there's got to be a reason, so let me go figure it out.
Yeah.
Ended up being, I genuinely relate to a lot of what she says, and and that's when I kind of started questioning, like, okay, what are my views on life? And you know, the political climate was crazy, but when it came to how she morally sees life, what she morally looks at being what it is to be a mother, I related. Yeah. And just the outlook on life, you know what I mean? And yeah, that threw me down the Jordan Peterson and the Joe Rogan and the everybody. And then now, before I knew it, I'm listening to debates and all kinds of stuff. I was sucked in a rabbit hole. Like 2020, 2021, he would be like, you got to stop listening to that stuff. It's sucking your energy. But it would just trip me out. Because to me, I was just like, wait, what the heck? My healing made me realize so much about life that I viewed wrong, you know? And it was in alignment with her. So go check her out.
Yeah.
She might challenge your perspective at first. Dude, but I had a whole reality. Yeah. My reality crashed, bro. Wow. And then I freaking read a book. You like reading? Yes. Okay, so I got a book called Discrimination and Disparities by Thomas Sowell.
Okay.
And he's an economist, right? And he is the only Black professor that actually dives into what has caused for minorities to be in impoverished neighborhoods, and he really breaks down the numbers and like the political things that were pushed for that, right? And once I read that book, bro, it was like, oh my God.
Real quick, that we're on books. One book that really got to me was I don't know if it was my first prison term or my second prison term. can't remember, but I remember seeing this book. I was in Wasco
Yeah.
reception center, right? And there was a book in front of my cell. You know, people would leave books on the tier.
Yeah.
And this shit was in front of my cell for like 4 or 5 days, never fucking moved. And I was like, man. And then I think one time they were like, all right, we're gonna come clean up the tiers, like we're throwing away whatever's on. And I was like, all right, let me fucking grab this book. And it was a book by Wayne Dyer, and it was called "You'll See It When You Believe It." So, you know, people are like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. It's like, no, but you'll see it when you believe it. And I read that book, and I think that kind of propelled me on this direction of wanting to kind of feed my mind and my soul and just things that make me feel good. But yeah.
What a blessing.
Yes, right? I know. And it's funny, too, because I'm telling you, that book was staring at me for like 4 days. But I was like, you'll see what I seen it every day, and I just never, and they're like, we're going to come clean up. And I was like, man, let me see this book. And I read it, and it really, like, I haven't read it since then. So it's been years, but I would love to run back on that.
Yeah. That was where it shifted your perspective on things?
I really think it did. Because I don't know, I really don't know what mind state I had before that. I mean, because I was just, out just trapping, and that's all it was, money, trying to make some money.
That's how it is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's normal, right? You don't know another way of life or different perspectives unless you are around it or exposed to it. And you can be exposed to it in different ways. Yours was a book.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, and then even too, coming home from prison my second time, which was, I've been out for 5 years now, going on 5 years. I say I'm a free man. My name is Richie Freeman. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm a free man.
There you go.
Nah, but yeah, I don't know at what point, because I remember coming home and I was kind of fell back into the shits of just the streets, and then I'm trying to think at what point where I started, coming into the man that I am today.
Yeah.
I have to think about when that clicked and when it changed, because I can't recall right now.
Yeah.
And life is always a battle, because since I've been home, like I'm not perfect, nowhere near it,
Yeah.
So, and even now that I'm doing good for myself, life is still always like revision. What am I doing? How am I feeling? And this year has been a great year for me. And then, but even like, I know we spoke a couple of months ago, and I was just like, and it's like, I'm doing good for myself, but I just don't feel fulfilled, and I don't know what it is. And yeah, life is revision. But
yeah, what are you hoping to gain from all the introspection you're taking to life?
One thing I always say is, I don't know, people are like, how you doing? So, I'm trying to figure life out.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm trying to do is, just live a good life, live a life that's going to be good to me, and it's going to bring good, and, hopefully have some kids and teach them that, and create some good little humans.
Yeah.
To carry on into this world. So I don't know. I think I want a good life for myself, and, I realize it's, things that you take in is things that you put out, and things that you put out is things that you take in. It's all full circle. So I've just been on this journey of trying to do good for myself, and it's always a battle. And it's funny too, even for the first part of this year I was sober, and then even being sober, it's like I was fighting with not drugs anymore, not alcohol, but just things in general, like me, I don't know. I was there's this lady, her name's Crystal Marie, and she's a healer as well, and I would go to her, man, I'm pretty she's a therapist, you know what I'm saying, but she'll do the do the sounds and everything. She had me tapping on my forehead. She's dope though. But what's it called? Gosh, what was I getting at? Gosh, I forgot what I was getting at right now. I hate that.
Oh, it's okay. I think you were talking about how like you were going to her, and just I think you were gonna get to a point of saying like things that were changing in your life in terms of like knowledge you were gaining, and where I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, but life's always a battle, and it's always gonna be a battle, and we're never gonna have it figured out. And so I feel like I always say it now, and I could see me saying it fucking 30, 40 years from now. It's like, what are you doing? Just trying to figure life out. Still haven't figured it out, never will, but always gonna be trying to do better for myself and for the people around me. And this reminds me of a quote I just heard recently. It's like, you be the light, but they were relating it to a candle. You be that one light, and you can light up so much more.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess I'm just trying to be the candle for my people, for those who don't have the fire, and let me try and ignite it.
Yeah, and that's so impactful too, especially from I mentioned earlier, just the atmosphere that we're around. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's real humanizing to platform so many different voices, and it kind of just it lets people know that you ain't got to be hard all the time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's cool to learn. It's cool to have that introspection, and it's cool to embrace that growth
Yeah.
within yourself and to give that on to others. You know,
Hmm.
so you're doing God's work. Good for you.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
love
Thank
to
you.
see. I love to see when men embrace that. You know, it's easy. I think because women are more emotional. For the most part, we tend to, be more vocal. But when a man does it, it is so impactful to other men, and it's so freaking needed.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So good for you. Proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we wrap up, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from life?
Hmm. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Biggest lesson I've learned from life. I think it's kind of just. I mean, the first answer that kind of popped in my head right now was what we were just touching on. Is you're never gonna have it figured out,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one thing that I know right now, and I hope I never forget that. It's like, hey, always do work to try and better yourself. But
Yes.
just know that you'll never have it figured out. You know, kind of put things in God's hands at this point. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to do my best, and the rest is in your hands, big guy.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll play my part. And it's funny, even before I came here, before I perform, I always say a prayer. And it's, God, please let my light shine, and please use me. You mean as you see fit. Please guide me. And here I am.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes.
I have a very similar prayer that I tell myself too. That's awesome that you can give God that glory.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because I truly believe it's Him working in our lives.
Right?
You
Yeah.
know, and changing our lives. I really genuinely don't believe that these revelations that I've experienced and these thoughts that I think that have changed the trajectory of my life came from me only.
Yeah.
It came from a higher power, the Holy Spirit that lives within me. You
Uh-huh.
know, I finally just embraced it instead of being a damn knucklehead.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Dang. But anyways, well, any last words?
Oh man, we could go on for a lot longer, but I think yeah, no, I think it's good. Thank you for having me,
Yes, no.
and
Thank
we
you
for
for
sure gotta talk again. Very
Yes, we'll
soon.
probably do a part 2, and then we could do like a specific topic or something,
Yeah.
or like card things like people can ask. There's different avenues I'm trying to explore and
Hey, just trying to
do.
figure life out.
Just trying to figure life out.
Yeah, we're
Exactly.
gonna try and revise and
Yep.
yes.
Well, Trapper Loc, thank you so much for taking the time and coming out here. I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Yes.
And until next time.
Thank you for
You're
having
welcome.
me.
Bye, guys.